these evil curses. I see my people hurt. COVID got these people nervous. It's a damn shame, can't even walk in the store without a mask on. I'm a wise man, mad printer, pressure won't last long. Turn claps on. Happy I be driving something heavy. Can't be focused, I'm ready. I'm gonna fight these bitches. A whole lot of these bitches. A whole lot of bitches being petty. Black, Hispanic, Native, we all niggas. One West, whole money killers. They don't know they hate me, they don't feel us. Talk to mother niggas, we the realest. And we ain't never scared. Just pay attention, my nigga. Keep coming soon once they give you the bread. All this bullshit, how they feeling, nigga. Gotta keep getting these kids, man. All of them niggas stay diligent. Everything around, we winning it. And I'm a prophesy until all of my people rise. Just open up your eyes, pay attention. That's how we get you. Just pay attention to the bread. Circus. That's how we drive you. We try to distract you. Bread in the circus. Bread in the circus. That's how we get you. Just pay attention to the bread. Circus, bread in the circus. That's how they try to distract you. Bread in the circus, bread in the circus. Moving for the lesser, two evils is nonsense. Social media, keep distracted. This content, keep scrolling. Look, we folding. Since 1960, now we hold it. Got me keep rolling hard without a scars. From proven soldiers, my people destroyed. Corrupt, till it's over, gotta man up. Why I shall operation? That's where I hands up. No fucking power, prince of the power, but I ain't shit without my king. We ain't seen, let's stay prepared to meet the king. Sword in our hand, ready to stand, ready to fight, ready to kill for all my brothers. I give my life. It's a time to fix it, it's a time to hunt. Stay on your foot, down the front. Try to start, gotta keep it for the battle front. That's how you travel with the strap, with the bread and circus. But you can't see this blind behind the curtains. That's how they get you. Just pay attention to the bread and circus. Bread and circus. That's how we travel you. We try to distract you with the bread and circus. Bread and circus. That's how they get you. Just pay attention to the bread and circus. Bread and circus. That's how they travel you. We try to distract you with the bread and circus. Bread and circus. Oh, jokes aside. You know how niggas be like, I'm listening there for life. Listening there for life. I'm always for life, nigga. This is blood. Like your mother ride. They go a class for you, my nigga. 140 for the rebel. The world turned its back on me. I'm a criminal. We got soldiers. He got soldiers, but I got different ones. Ain't no way out. I tell you what. Don't pray for nothing. Nothing in the curse. We can't forgive us for please. Remain in the churches. Trust in the Lord, but please forgive me for the times that I did and bring his gift. Have your respect to your bring on. We bout your business. This Lord, see the damn sinners. Look, trying to pick up with a blind friend. They said there'll be many branches. I'm just grinding for my time share. The devils they grand grab. They hunt you like bad pepper. But ain't no getting out the game like you munching. But if you take that office or bandit, they try to deal death to a priest. You won't make it out and work. You ain't gonna mess with you can stay. Just make sure you got the heart. Say your name 3 times and it's step through his heart. So how you feel about this truth by the show? Ain't it like you think that nigga? I should won't know. Even your own people gon' get show. If I know I said they hate you for my name, so you better keep it on. Ain't no more guessing. Ain't no more questions. Make sure my election till I'm tucked away like George Dennis. Murder for capital knives. Murder at the Capitol. The world in the basement. We like fuck a raid. I pity those watching life as it goes by. Be giving mercy in this life. I don't know why. It's pump smoke. Never tried over it. The day all my brother be the dead. So I don't need a phone. Salute my nigga. Salute my nigga. Like how you say phone? Cause I told him I'm motivated cause of you, my nigga. Brotherhood and weapons. Still got weapons on the scene. And I never do my niggas like Bishop D. Rahim. Never mind in all beliefs. They under anesthesia. So they say she need me. Say she wanna let that love go. So I let that love go. But if I bring you to my bed, that's a prayer. So how you feel about this truth by the show. This ain't the life you think, you nigga. I should walk. Even your own people go this home. And the Lord said they hate you for my name, so you better keep it low. Yeah, yeah. True story. The following is based on relevance. Yo. She didn't care for the Yeezys and the Jordans. Tired of the lies, past the souls over organs. Her father just passed, so her heart had a dent. She was struggling with her brother to come up with the rent. Pastor only wanted $1, something made make sense. Till she heard a little story that was something like this. What's your nationality? Come and get a flyer. Do you know we got a dark-skinned Messiah? The devil is deceitful and the white man is a liar. Now she wanna study just to get her knowledge higher. A few months passed, then she ain't one with her mother. Since she started learning, they would argue with each other. My mother doesn't understand, I'm not in the code. She needs to respect my decisions as an adult. This is a nice place where nobody will hurt you. Everything's so pretty and we're all wearing purple. It's been a few months, she found a man of the Lord. One who's steady in the word, always sharper than his sword. Stimulates her mind so she never gets bored. Talks to her like a princess and never like a whore. Got her thinking that there's more than only getting the draws. He's such a gentleman, always opening doors. Took her on a date for everything in the stores. From dinner to Michael Kors, he's like, have it, it's yours. She can't believe it, it's all but a dream. Everything is beautiful, all peaches and cream. She says to herself, I'm happy I joined this group. It makes me feel good, I finally found the truth. These other groups always talking about polygyny, but I found a real man who says he's only into me. What a nice place where nobody will hurt you. Everything's so pretty and we're all wearing purple.
Shalom, 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 Israel. Shalom, troopers, Shari-1, Yahweh Bashem Yahshai B'Tha, to all the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Alatha, Ba'Shem Yahshai, to all the sisters. Shalom, trooper, Yerad, whenever you get in. What's up, people? It's once again, we right back at it. Monday night, you know how we do. I.S.U.P.K Canada history class, and we got some more history, Canadian history, and a little bit of American history that we're going to go in, but it ties right into our topic tonight. Tonight we got the Shelbourne, Nova Scotia riots and the Elaine riots, right? The Elaine riots happened 1919. They called it the Red Summer. That's when they had riots all over America. Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, right? So they had riots everywhere. And we had riots in Canada as well. The Shelbourne riots, they're saying it was the first racial riots on record in Canada. So we're about to go into it, right? I got a little video for you to watch, and then we're going to do some reading. So I got a video for you to watch right quick. I'm going to add the screen share. Gotta add the screen share right quick. 1 second. Share it with the audio. Right, so we got a screen share right quick for you. Let's see what it's looking like. Right, okay, we're looking right. All right, we're gonna pull this right back up. Right, so this is a video of the Elaine massacre, the bloodiest racial conflict in U.S. history, right? And after we watch this, we're gonna dive right into some information that we have about the Shelbourne riots, right? And we're gonna play this and then read about the Shelbourne riots. And it's basically gonna show you the spirit of our oppressors, right? That bloodthirst that they have, that lust for blood, murder, and just crime in general. If it's evil, they lust for it. They want to do it. For our oppressors, if it's evil, if it's not evil, it's not right. Like that's how they think. That's how they operate. You see it every day with the oppressors that are above you at your workplace. You see it play out on the news. You see it play out in the politics. Just even in the random oppressors that you walk by, like during the street, like you'll notice that they have no love for you. And even when they smile, like a snake might smile, but are you gonna pet it? Like, would you pet a fire breathing dragon, even though it smiles at you? You'd be stupid to believe that our oppressors love us, right? How could they love us when they kill us at every turn, right? Last week we went into Martin Luther King's nightmare, right? And we were talking about his nightmare and basically how our oppressors they hate us, right? And we played right into their hand with his nightmare. So we're gonna go and watch this video just a little, and then we'll get into it some more. Right? So I'm gonna drop this video for you right quick. Hold up.
It was called the Red Summer of 1919, named for the blood that ran through America's cities during months of racial unrest. African American soldiers had returned home from the Great War, World War I, to a country still teeming with discrimination. And in their quest for civil rights, tensions between blacks and whites reached a tipping point. Deadly race riots broke out in over 2 dozen cities, but one rural town, Elaine, Arkansas, would become the epicenter for the bloodshed. The violence there, lynch mobs, torture, indiscriminate murder, was so horrific it would go down in history not as a race riot, but as the Elaine Massacre. This is history. Dark history. During World War I, more than 350,000 African American soldiers enlisted to serve. But while they fought for democracy abroad, their own country, America, was still not willing to see them as equal.
White supremacy was very mainstream at this time in the United States. Basically, a lot of African Americans were seeking to obtain their full rights and equality in the United States. And violence was often used by mobs of whites.
Tensions reached a boiling point in the summer of 1919. Race riots broke out in dozens of cities across the country. But in the rural South, something even more menacing was taking form. There, slavery existed in all but name. In a system called sharecropping, farmers provided landowners with labor for a share of crops produced. But the system was rigged. Sharecroppers were often kept in perpetual debt.
One black sharecropper raised $500 worth of cotton, and his landlord told him, "Yeah, but you used $697 worth of supplies, so you will do money."
Everyone who has any power at this point is working to make sure they keep African American laborers tied to the land.
For roughly 50 years, the system went unchecked. In the fall of 1918, a black man from Market had Rummer Hill had decided to form a union to represent sharecroppers. It was a dangerous decision, and one that would set off a chain of events involving mass murder, torture, and a landmark Supreme Court ruling. But first, he would need to organize.
In his message, Hill was pretty simple and direct. Why is it that we cannot have fair payment for the honest and hardworking people?
Despite the inherent risk involved with challenging whites, veterans, and other black sharecroppers became card-carrying members of the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America.
We believe that by paying dues, these members could have the services of lawyers and sue plantation owners for cotton that has been stolen from them and false numbers that have been placed in the plantation or books.
On the night of September 30th, 1919, Union members gathered in Elaine to discuss their legal plan.
This is in Phillips County. It's basically just a crossroads at this time, a road, a few houses, a railroad sign, no streetlights. There's also a one-room wooden church, and that's where the union is. Expecting that they might, the union car rolls up the road. Two white men were in the car. By one account, one of the white men in the car said, "You all get away from there." And shortly thereafter, a shot was fired. Though it remains unclear who fired first, a barrage of gunfire broke out. One of the white men was killed almost instantly. The rumor of a black uprising spread in a matter of hours. The idea of a sharecropper rebellion conveniently played into the hands of landowners. No wonder sharecropping practices scrutinized. They did all they could, as quickly as they could, to sound alarms that black farmers were out for white blood.
The story gets magnified that the town is under attack, that blacks are killing people in the streets, that there's a revolution afoot.
Sharecroppers quickly formed self-defense groups, expecting repercussions of the death of a white man. But they could tell just how severe the response would be. The following morning, the watchful eye of Sheriff Frank Kitchens and his deputies, posses of white men were sent to find, detain, and kill the offenders.
When you have an out-of-control mob that's being told there's a Negro insurrection going on, that mob is very indiscriminate and violent. You see houses being attacked, ransacked.
The black school was burned, notable families were killed.
Black women and children have to go literally hide out in the woods because many of these people are indiscriminately shooting at African American women and their children.
Black veterans and other African Americans took up arms in self-defense.
This no doubt just feeds into the mob fervor. The fact that, oh, they're daring to shoot back at us. This must really be an insurrection.
One historian has identified more than 20 different killing sites where African Americans were being killed.
Their mob members were taking souvenirs, such as ears or fingers from the bodies of fallen African Americans.
One of the leading black families of the county, they weren't even in the town. They had just received a brother back from the French front. They are pulled from a train, put in the back of a car, and they are stabbed, shot, and their mutilated bodies are left on the side of the road.
Within 2 days, 500 U.S. troops were sent to quell the supposed black uprising.
They don't find any blacks killing or shooting down the streets. In fact, Colonel Jenks reports that the city is filled with hundreds and hundreds of white men with guns. Many of the individuals who were hiding in the thickets were former soldiers who had just gotten back from the war. And when they see the army troops come, they rush out, believing that the army troops are there to assist. The army believes that these people are rushing toward them to attack, and they're cut down by machine gun fire.
Although the exact number will never be known, a recent estimate suggests 237 black men, women, and children were killed. There was an immediate demand.
We're back. I'm gonna leave it right there for a second. Let's get out our share screen. Right back, right? So, Trooper Shaw, you won. That was a lot to take in. Right? And like that was damn, like our oppressors, when they want to do violence, man, they do that violence at 100%. Like they go from 0 to 100 real quick. Like, and that's what they do when they want to do violence. That number, 237 black men, women, and children murdered over them just fighting for what's theirs, fighting for what they earned, right? Like the whole Shelbourne riots started Slovakia. The Elaine massacre started over black sharecroppers. Basically, they wanted to be paid correctly, right? Who doesn't want to be paid correctly, right? Everyone watching this, everyone in the world wants to work their wage, and when they see their paycheck at the end of it, they want to make sure it's correct. Like people get upset over a half an hour missing on their paycheck. Imagine having to pick cotton, right? $500 worth of cotton. We just watched that porch. That was like 3 couches worth of cotton. right? And I don't mean like the cotton that's in the couch. I'm talking about you put 3 couches on top of each other and make that the mass of cotton, right? And to be told that you can't get money for this cotton now because you owe me money, which was a lie, right?
Right.
Trooper Salaki, what was that, Ak?
Slocky, I was just saying.
Right. Like, did you see how they brought in the army, right? They brought in 500 army men to soldiers to quell the supposed riot and uprising of black men, right?
Right.
And when they got there, they said, "Wait, there's no black men killing anybody, but there's hundreds and hundreds of white men,
Right.
right?" Like, what does that remind you of? Hundreds of armed white men in one place.
What does that remind me of? So that's every
Yeah, it
riot we've
just
ever
happened.
had, sir.
Salakia, what was that?
Every riot we've ever had, it was.
Yeah, you can say that, but I was looking for the U.S. Capitol riots,
Okay, yeah.
right? Hundreds of white men armed to the teeth killing that thin blue line that they said they cared about, right? They hated Kaepernick for kneeling, but they went and killed officers, right? And I thought it was respect the flag, the thin blue line matters, right? So they were like just watching that. We'll get back into it, but they were scared of black men and black women standing together, and they like to call it an uprising, right? So they decided to go in and kill that movement, right? Because you can't have a union if you're black. You can't defend yourself or demand not to say equality, because we know equality doesn't exist, not in our book and not in the world we live in right now, right? But you can't demand fair payment for your work, right? And they did the same thing that they did to the Black Panthers, right? Like right when, like the Black Panthers, there was also 2 Northern Kingdom, 2 Northern Kingdom organizations around the same time as the Black Panthers. It's just it's not I don't remember the names at the moment, but we're gonna find it for you and I'll get it, right? But there were 2 organizations that basically stood up the same time as the Black Panthers, and both those organizations, along with the Black Panthers, they were Northern Kingdom organizations though. But both of those organizations, the government, they had a plot to destroy them. With the Black Panthers, they destroyed us with heroin, right? So just around the same time the Black Panthers were happening, they decided to put heroin in all our neighborhoods, right? Right after we survived heroin, barely, like we barely survived heroin, they decided to give us crack cocaine, right? So now you could see it, like you could even compare it today with Canada legalizing weed, right? Like just before that, we were beginning to now they're not gathering in the truth, but young black men and women were waking up with sort of under the Black Lives Matter guys, right? But we know Black Lives Matter, we're not affiliated with them, nor do we care about that organization because it has nothing to do with righteousness or black people, right? But just around the time as all these murders started to go live, you had the prime minister start to legalize marijuana, right? And we know the number one cause of marijuana, right? So it's like they're targeting us again, right? And when you watch that video, you see them rioting, right? And they're not really rioting; they're trying to defend themselves, right? So they're trying to defend themselves, and when you try to defend yourself to your oppressors, they oppress you more. They try to beat you down more. Like look at for example, when you watch Rodney King, right? You watch the Rodney King video, they were striking him and he's trying to get up and get away. Right? And every time he tried to get up and get away, they would strike him down. So if you stand up against your oppressors, right, they're going to Salakia, one moment. If you stand up against your oppressors, they're going to basically tell you, how dare you defend yourself? Right? So that's what was happening. They're basically telling us, how dare we defend ourselves? Right? I'm trying to figure out exactly how much more of this do we got. We'll probably go back. We're going to finish out this video. It's like a couple more minutes, and then we're going to go into the reading. Right? So that was just a lot to take in.
Hey, Salakia, shalom, shalom, y'all. Bye, Come.
Hey, shalom, Aki. How about you? Right, so we're gonna watch a little bit more of that video right quick, a couple more moments of it. Bear with me, and then you could go check out all this information yourself. It's all over YouTube, right? It's just when it comes to Canada, it's hard to kind of find like videos or images of the Shelbourne riots. What I'll say with Canada is they're known to not really tell the truth about history and try to paint themselves as a place that's full of righteousness, right? But we know that's not the case, because during the summertime, one moment. Right, so Canada likes to paint itself as a righteous place. Salakia, Trooper, you're right. I'm getting a little bit of feedback from your. I'm not sure if it's your phone or Trooper Shariwan's camera, but can Aki mute yourself for a quick second, and then when I need you to read or something, I'll bring you back in. If you can't, try to figure it out. Right, so Salakia, what was I saying? Right, so we're gonna get back into that video. But as I was saying, within Canada, like they like to paint themselves as the most righteous place to be. But in the summertime, before COVID, you would see a day full of naked men and women riding down the street, right? And if we were to play a game called guess the ethnicity of those people, it would only be one. Like if you said Edom, if you said white people, you'd be right. That's some Edomite shit that they're doing. Salaki, excuse my French, right? So we're gonna get back into this video right quick. Let me get that screen share one more time. So wait, I didn't do it with the audio. Damn, I gotta get it right back. Salaki. Right, but while we wait for this video to load back up, Trooper Shariwan, can you get me Lamentations 4:18? Right, and this is going to describe our oppressors and their spirit, right, and how they see us and how they treat us, right? Whenever you got it, drop it.
Okay. This is Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 18. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go into our streets. Our end is near.
So our oppressors. Read.
Okay. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come.
Right, so our oppressors hunt our steps. Like, it's hard for a Black, Hispanic, or Native American man to walk outside half the time. Like anytime you're walking down the street as a Black, Hispanic, or Native American man, as a child of the Lord, as the children of Israel, and you see slave catcher, like you can see him just in his car driving by, you hold your breath for a second. And that doesn't matter if you have no criminal record, if you've never done a crime at all, right, you hold your breath, because you know that if they look at you and you make eye contact, they might U-turn and turn around and just harass you and possibly beat you and make you blind in one eye, like the young brother, Mr. Miller, right? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go and Google it, right? And if you extra don't know what I'm talking about, and you're in the city of Toronto, I know you know about the Neptune 4, right? That was four, maybe three children in the Lawrence Heights area of Neptune, right? Neptune Drive, where they were getting beat. Like they were going to an after school program, and the slave catchers seen them and decided to pull them over and basically pull guns on children in the nighttime in an area that's like there's heavy drug use and violence in that area, right? But the children of that area, these young children in high school, they're just children. They're innocent. They're not the ones committing the crime, right? But these young men that the police seen, they decided to pull them over, rough them up, and pull guns on them, right? That was over 10 years ago, right? That case, two of the officers, of the four officers that were charged, 10 years later, they're finally being convicted. So if you don't know, that says a lot about what politicians and what the people over you, the evil Edomites over you, right? And they're not over you because God chose them as righteous people. They're over you because we're going through punishments because we don't want to come back to the Lord, right? Those people that are over you, they don't care. They just wanna kill you. Like there's no other way to say it. They just want to kill you. So we're gonna go back into this video right quick, watch some more of it, and after that we'll get some more scripts. All right, so let me get that screen share right quick.
The watchful eye of Sheriff Frank Kitchens and his deputies, posses of white men were sent to find, detain, and kill the offenders.
We have that out-of-control mob that's being held in Negro insurrection on. That mob's being very indiscriminate and violent. You see houses being attacked, black-owned homes being ransacked.
The black school was burnt. Notable families were killed.
Black women and children have to go literally hide out in the woods because many of these people are indiscriminately shooting at African American women and their children.
Black veterans and other African Americans took up arms in self-defense.
This no doubt just feeds into the mob fervor. The fact that, oh, they're daring to shoot back at us. This must really be an insurrection.
One historian has identified more than 20 different killing sites where African Americans were being killed.
There are stories that mob members were taking souvenirs, such as ears or fingers from the bodies of fallen African Americans.
One of the leading black families of the county, they weren't even in the town. They had just received a brother back from the French front. They are pulled from a train, put in the back of a car, and they are stabbed, shot, and their mutilated bodies are left on the side of the road.
Within 2 days, 500 U.S. troops were sent to quell the supposed black uprising.
They don't find any blacks killing or shooting down the streets. In fact, Colonel Jinks reports that the city is filled with hundreds and hundreds of white men with guns. Many of them who were hiding in the thickets were former soldiers who had just gotten back from the war. And when they see the army troops come, they rush out, believing that the army troops are there to assist. The army believes that people are rushing toward them to attack, and they're cut down by machine gun shots.
Although the exact number will never be known, a recent estimate suggests 237 black men, women, and children were killed. There was an immediate demand for justice, but not for the black lives lost. 5 white men were also killed in the fighting. Hundreds
Hundreds of African Americans were rounded up and put in jail, and when the jail was full, they detained the rest in a schoolhouse.
While they are detained, there is torture going on.
The goal? To elicit false confessions of a black uprising.
They whipped the men, whipped them for long periods of time. They stuffed formaldehyde up their noses, and they stripped them naked and shocked them with electrical charges. They did this until they confessed to the conspiracy.
Robert Hill escaped to Kansas, but his peers back in Arkansas were not as lucky. 122 indictments were issued, and trials quickly started.
The men were brought into the court machine. They weren't allowed to consult with their defense attorney. The defense attorney rarely interjected, and then the all-white jury started delivering guilty verdicts. One case the guilty came back.
It's also important to point out that there were mobs of people outside who were demanding black blood. Governor Bruff maintained that at some point people would be killed, but they would have to have been killed justly.
The governor lived up to his word. When among the 87 black citizens charged with crimes, 12 were sentenced to death by electric chair. Despite the system being blatantly rigged against them, the convicted men had one unlikely beacon of hope: the American justice system. The trials of the Elaine 12 had been highly publicized. The NAACP took notice and stepped in with legal help. Well, for 4 years, the team faced a series of legal setbacks and advances, until in 1923, the case made its way to the Supreme Court. It is now known as Moore versus Dempsey. There, the defense argued that the original trials had been mob-dominated. Black prisoners had been denied their constitutional rights. In a landmark decision, the court agreed.
The good that comes out of this is that the NAACP sees for the first time that it can win in the Supreme Court, that things don't always fall along the color lines.
The 12, subjected to torture, injustice, and litigation travesty, were at long last exonerated and released in January 1925. They might have escaped with their lives, but there was nothing that could reverse the pain and devastation felt by the black community in Phillips County, and no way to unsee the ungodly truth that American men, alongside the American government, were complicit in a massacre of American citizens on American soil.
We, as a nation, have grown, and we continue to grow. We don't.
All right, that's enough of that. Stop that screen share for a quick second. Right, so they tortured brothers, right? Like for no reason. Anytime the Akim want to interject, just unmute your mic. You already know, right? So they tortured 12 brothers. Like they formaldehyde. I don't even know what that smells like. I could only imagine, man. I used to get sick back in the day smelling pine sol. Right? You couldn't use pine sol in my house. You had to use Mr. Clean, right? You couldn't use that. So I could only imagine what formaldehyde, like that doesn't sound like anything nice, right? Smelled like, and you have to smell that. You're stripped naked, you're beat. Lord knows if that's where it stopped, right? Like I can't see that. So like you stripping Esau, stripping black men naked and just beating them. Is that where it really stops with Esau? Like, I doubt that. Like, I don't even want to think of it, right? But we know that the Edomite spirit is homosexual in nature, right? Everything they do is homosexual. That's why when you're on your slavery, your supervisor only has a gay joke for you, like consistently. Like every day he has and you're just thinking to yourself, how the hell did this man come up with another one, right? And he consistently gay joke. Then 10 days later, it's like, hey, gay joke, right? So did Esau just stop right there with stripping them naked, beating them, and shocking them with jumper cables? Like that's very doubtful, right? So what do we got? We got one more. We're gonna go into the Shelbourne riots right now. And one thing that's like that year, that summer, 1919, they called it the Red Summer, right? Like that's the red summer. So you gotta imagine like in 2005. Maybe I'm wrong. 2005, 2006 in the city of Toronto was the summer of the gun, right? That is a lot of killing, right? A lot of gunfire went off in that summer, the summer of the gun. Just go Google it. Toronto, summer of the gun. That changed the landscape and the sentencing for black men in Canada if you got caught with a gun, right? That was regardless of if you pulled that trigger or if you had a gun for your protection, right? After 2005, if you got pulled over and you got stopped and you had an illegal firearm on you, you're not supposed to have illegal firearms. Black men, Hispanic men, Native American men, if you have no criminal charges, right? Get a firearm legally. Don't go and get a illegal firearm, because when you get caught, you won't be able to go to the Passover that's coming up, right? So that changed the landscape. And like summer of the gun, that means there was a lot of shooting. So what they were talking about was a red summer, right? That's a lot of blood. And it wasn't just that happened from New York to Arkansas down to Mississippi, right back to the left side of the map, the West Coast, San Diego, right? Or San Francisco. They had riots as well. So that's what was happening. Like if to the people watching, like the video, thumb up the video, share this video on Instagram, Periscope, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, wherever you can. Share it on Reddit, right? Share this video on Reddit if you can, right? So that was a red summer. We're gonna go now, and we're gonna go north of the border, and we're gonna go northeast out to Nova Scotia, right, to where the Judites are. If you don't know Canadian history, in Nova Scotia, we got Judites who came up after slavery, right? They took that underground railroad and rode that underground railroad right to Nova Scotia, right? And they settled with free, so-called free blacks that were already there. So it's a mix of Judites and other tribes out east. Right, so we're gonna get those Shelbourne riots right quick for you. Let me hook up that screen share application window right here. We're good to go. Anybody watching, if you can see the screen share and it's not clear, or if you can see the screen share and it's not clear, just drop a 1 in the chat. Let me know if it's clear or not, or just tell me it's not clear. I'll make it easier. Just tell me it's not clear if you can't see the article properly. Right, so we got this right off Wikipedia. Hold up. See if we can do it like that. Go over some more. Right, so that should be a little better. Check it out. Yeah, there we go. Right, so Shelbourne riots, right? The Shelbourne riots were attacks in July 1784, right? So these riots happened like damn near 100 years, almost 100 years. Well, exactly over 100 years before the 1919 Red Summer, right? Let's get back into it. The Shelbourne riots were attacks in July 1784 by landless, loyalist veterans of the American War of Independence against black loyalists, right? The government officials in the town of Shelbourne, Nova Scotia, and the nearby village of Birchtown. Slovakia, one moment. They are considered the first race riots in Canada and are one of the earliest recorded race riots in North America. right? So we're going to go through the origins of this town right quick, right? The town of Shelbourne was created in 1783 as a settlement for United Empire loyalists who were American colonists who had sided with the British, right? So these men were traitors to their own people anyways, right? During the American War of Independence, briefly, well, that's when it happened, during the American War of Independence. Briefly, the largest city in North America and the largest British North American city in the continent. The city of 10,000 people included over 1,500 African American slaves, right? So we know those are the children of Israel, right? Who had ran away from their American masters to join the British. The British had promised them freedom, and the crown granted them land in Birchtown, right? 6 miles outside of Shelbourne, but many also worked and lived in the town. Tensions rose in Shelbourne in the spring of 1784. Delays in supplies and awarding land grants created anger and frustration among the many disbanded soldiers who suffered in the frontier town, right? So these land grants that were being granted, they were being granted to black people, right? And these disbanded soldiers, like if you give a black man anything, a white man's gonna get mad, right? So you could clearly see it, and you see it all the time. Like you got a nice car that you worked hard for, and you still probably making payments, and you just took that out the car wash, and it's sparkling and smelling good and smelling like whatever spray that you got, right? That you sprayed inside your car to make it smell good. You're driving down the street playing a little music. The police sees you, whoop whoop, and he pulls you over, and now you got a ticket for something you didn't do, right? So let's get back to this reading. They sought jobs while waiting for the land grants promised for their military service, but had to compete with black loyalists who received even fewer land grants and smaller rations, right? But were willing to work for smaller wages. So just to survive, we had to get smaller rations, and we had to work for smaller wages, right? And they, like, you already know, like it's like what Salakia, what Donald Trump said. He basically said like Mexicans, Ishikarites are taking our jobs. Like they're in the fields picking the oranges, and they're mowing the lawns, and they're doing the landscaping jobs, and they're doing all the other jobs that we don't want to do anyways. But now that they have them, we don't want them, right? So that's what you're reading, right? So let's get back to it. David George, a popular black Baptist, I can't even say that word, Baptist clergyman, became a lightning rod for racist anger. He had founded a Baptist church in Shelbourne and attracted many followers, both black and white, in the spring of 1784. As David George prepared to baptize white couple William and Deborah Holmes, good night, a small mob of Deborah's relatives disrupted the service to stop the event, right? That's kind of like, I don't know, has any of the Akim ever seen the movie Birth of a Nation?
That sounds familiar. What was that about?
That's the Nat Turner story. If you haven't watched Birth of a Nation, go watch Birth of a Nation. Not like, you'll find it. It's on your Netflix. Birth of a Nation, right? So there's a point in Birth of a Nation where Nat Turner, the actor who's playing Nat Turner, he gives a blessing. Like some Edomites knew the Bible, and they said, "Hey, give us a blessing because this nigger can read," right? So he gave him a blessing, and they damn near wanted to kill him, right? So that's the same thing that we just read right here. Like this black man tried to, or he was prepared to baptize a Edomite couple and a mob formed of relatives, and they wanted to stop them, right? So let's see, right? Shelbourne magistrates were called and ruled that the couple were free to be baptized in a church of their choosing. The baptism went ahead, but racial tensions grew among the landless white loyalists, right? So if an Edomite doesn't have anything and you have it, I hope you know how to defend yourself, right? Time and time again, it shows that when we have something that they deem that they want, they're prepared to hang us, rape us, kill us, burn us for it, right? One thing that wasn't said in the 1919 Red Summer, a lot of black men and women and children, once they were being hanged, they were being lit on fire, right? There's many pictures. Like, even if you ever see us at camp, you got to come down one day. We got a whole bunch of signs and pictures about lynchings and us being burned, right, by fire. So let's get into this riot. On the night of July 25th, the riot began as a large group of white men attacked David George and the black loyalists in Shelbourne, right? So this is a insert from David George. Several of the black people had houses. Salakia. Several of the black people had houses upon lot, but 40 or 50 disbanded soldiers were employed, who came with the tackle of ships, and turned the dwelling house and every one of their houses. Salakia. And turned my dwelling house and every one of their houses quite over, and the meeting house they would have burned down, had not ringleader of the mob himself prevented it. But I continued preaching it until they came one night and stood before the pulpit and swore how they would treat me if I preached again. But I stayed and preached. And the next day they came and beat me with sticks and drove me into the swamp. I returned in the evening and took my wife and children over to the river Birchmount or Birchtown, right? That's exactly like what they did to the prophets that Christ rose up. The disciples that Christ rose up. Like, our oppressors killed our disciples, right? They killed our disciples that Christ rose up, right? And this is exactly what these Edomites are doing right now. They're trying to kill this man, right? And they're threatening to kill this man if he doesn't stop preaching, right? So let's get more into this riot. George's home and 20 other homes of free blacks in Shelbourne were destroyed in the first night of rioting, right? So that's about 20, maybe 25 homes, man. They say other homes, but it's probably more than that 20, right? Let's not put it past our oppressors to destroy a whole city like they did Japan when they dropped the bomb. Like, they didn't have to drop a bomb on the whole city, right? Many of the free blacks fled to Birchtown for safety. George stayed and continued to preach in Shelbourne, but at his next service, a number of white rioters stormed into the church and threatened him. The next day, they attacked him, beat him with sticks until he escaped into the swampy area outside of Shelbourne. He returned at night to rescue his wife and children, and they sought shelter in Birchtown, along with most of the free blacks who had formerly lived and worked in Shelbourne. Right? Let's see if we can get some more. We got a couple more paragraphs, and then we're going to get into some scriptures. Right? The Loyalist land agent in Shelbourne, Benjamin Marston, wrote after the first day of rioting, "Great riot today. The disbanded soldiers have risen against the free Negroes to drive them out of town because they labor more cheaply." right? So for us to get a job, we had to basically say we'll take a smaller wage, and we damn near do that today, right? Sometimes to get a job, especially in our captivity, we agree to a smaller wage, even if it's not a spoken agreement. We know we're supposed to be getting paid more, but you got a family to feed, and if you dispute it, right? I'll give you a perfect example, right? When I was in the world I was a bricklayer in the world, right? So I was a bricklayer and a laborer, right? I was laboring and getting damn near 38, almost $38 an hour, and I was on the wall laying bricks at the same time, right? The oppressor that I worked for basically decided that I wasn't laying bricks fast enough, even though I was the only laborer on the crew, right? We had one operator who rarely got on the scaffold, and myself. And myself, I had to make sure bricks were spread, make sure mortars on the boards, and at the same time jump on the wall and try to lay some bricks, right? But I wasn't laying bricks fast enough according to him. And instead of $38, I got dropped down to about $28, right? But as a laborer, I was supposed to be making $38 anyways, right? So that's what our oppressors do. They just want to get free labor out of you if they can, right? And I just moved into an apartment, so I had to basically settle for it. I had a rent to pay and car insurance, right? I had to settle for it. What am I going to do? Find another job, and then rent's due the next week, I'm out of money, right? So let's get back into the story. Where are we? The loyalist land agent in Shelbourne, Benjamin. We already read that. Because they labored more cheaply. The next day, the rioters attacked Marston's house. He escaped to the military barracks across the harbor, and that afternoon boarded a coastal schooner headed for Halifax. Shortly before rioters arrived at the barracks, reportedly intent on hanging him. Attacks by rioters continued in the town for 10 days, targeting some white loyalists, right? Such as Thomas and James Courtney, who had received large land grants on the Roseway River to set up a sawmill. The Courtneys were wealthy enough to hire armed guards to protect their properties, right? So you can see it, just like we see in the Washington Capitol riots, right? In that terrorism attack, that as soon as oppressors feel like they don't have enough, they don't care about anything. It's just, if you're not with me, you're against me, and they attack their own people, right? Attacks continued for another month against black loyalists as rioters made incursions against the black settlement at Birchtown. Black loyalists, many of whom were also Army veterans, organized into militia companies. Initially, they could defend themselves. Organized into militia companies. Initially, they could defend themselves, but were unable to quell the continuing violence. Attacks on blacks traveling along the road between Birchtown and Shelbourne were for work, and supplies continued for a month. Reports of the attacks spread around Nova Scotia. Simon Perkins, in the town of Liverpool to the east, wrote, "An extraordinary mob or riot has happened at Shelbourne. Some thousands of people assembled clubs and drove the Negroes out of town. The mob was stopped by the arrival of troops from the 17th Regiment of Foot, later assisted by crew of a frigate." Right? Let's just see if we need any more of this at the moment. We're going to read this right quick, right? A little bit of this. Dozens of homes, this is the aftermath of these riots now. Dozens of homes, mostly black loyalists, had been destroyed. Good night. So you can see it, like most of the black loyalist homes were destroyed. Like they just, like if it was black, they just were destroying it. And it didn't matter if you did anything or not, right? Just because you had land and just because you had a little bit more than them, and as they feel that they're supposed to have everything. If you have a crumb, you have too much, right? If it's peas and corns and you have one pea on your plate, they're angry. They want to hang you and kill you, right? Had been destroyed in the riots while others were looted. An unknown number of people were injured. No deaths were recorded. Most rioters wounded and threatened their targets. Few owned firearms. Like, I don't believe that for 1 second. No deaths were recorded. Like, that doesn't mean deaths didn't happen, right? So we're going to leave that right there for a second, right? So even though they said no deaths were recorded, like that doesn't even matter, because like we already know Esau's a liar. According to them, they found Canada, right? And they discovered Canada. Columbus discovered South America, right? So I don't believe that for a second. Trooper Urad, can you get me a Revelations 12 and 12? Trooper Shariwan, can you get me 2nd Ezra 6 and 9?
Okay.
Right. So like we know our oppressors are liars. Like you can't believe nothing an oppressor says ever. Like they like if you believe in oppressor, right? You're gonna wake up and be found in a freezer, right? You're gonna be woken up tied in a basement naked if you believe in oppressor, right? So Trooper, whoever has the revelation, Trooper, you're right. When you have it, drop it.
So the book of Revelation, chapter 12, and verse 1.
Now, verse 12. Revelations 12, verse 12.
Um, Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time.
Right? So, right? So read that one more time for me, Ak, and we're gonna break that down right quick, right? Because this is what you have to read as a Black, Hispanic, and Native American. Although the times that we're living in, we're being attacked left, right, and center. Like you get in this school, you get in this body, this school, and form with us like Voltron right quick, and the Lord is gonna send His angels to come free us up, right? So read that one more time.
So, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth.
Salakia, right? So the heavens are rejoicing right now, right? In the heavens, we have the angels and Christ, right? The angels and Christ, they're up there rejoicing right now because they know that it's a short time until they get to come free us up and take revenge for us, right? They know that it's a short time. They don't know the time or the hour, but they know that the time is short right now in the heavens are rejoicing, right? Read.
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth
Right?
and the
So,
field.
Salakia, we also know that when we see woe, right? Woe is destruction, right? Trooper Yerad, who would the destruction, right, be in this verse? Who would that destruction be for?
That would be for the oppressors.
Right. So just like Trooper Yerad said, this woe, the destruction, is for the oppressors, the oppressors that inhabit the earth. Because we know that, like, just like Officer Bond said, we just got to fall back on the principles of the Bible, right? Like, destruction's not really, the destruction that we're reading about is not for Israel. Israel is going to be saved. Salvation is only for Israelites. Salvation is only for Black Hispanics and Native Americans who died in the riots, who are in the ghettos right now, smoking drugs and drinking themselves to death, right? Because they're trying to cope with the pain of the oppressors. And you can see this pain's been going on since 1784, right? So no wonder Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are in the ghetto drinking themselves to death, right? You keep reading for me, Al? Brother Kashaw?
Sir. And so like, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time.
Right? So that the angels, 200 million angels, right, being led by Christ when they come back, are rejoicing right now, right? They're just waiting on Yahweh to give them the order. Once Yahweh gives Christ the order, Christ is going to give the order, that sky is going to crack. You're going to see 200 million angels flying around in saucers, right? The CIA just released all of their documents, or majority of their documents, on UFO sightings and stuff that they don't know what it is. It's an object that's flying, like, it's not flying like a man-made vehicle, right? Christ is coming with 200 million angels to beat our oppressors back into submission, Salakia, and put them in their place, right? And we're just waiting, right? You gotta get in the I.S.U.P.K, so you're not on the wrong side of the angels. You don't want to be caught up with the oppressors, right? You don't want to be caught up with the oppressors at all. And like we could, hell, I pray we could be doing this live right now and those angels come, right? Salakia, like you could fall asleep and wake up in the morning and the angel's already here, and now you just go, you're caught up with the oppressors because you're not in the I.S.U.P.K, right? Like, and you're gonna get caught up with the oppressors because you're in some fake camp with fringes on your shirt, rocking purple, right? Lying to the children of Israel, right? You don't want to get caught up with fringes on your shirt, or weed in your split, or sleeping with whores, right? You don't want to get caught up selling drugs when Christ comes, because he's not gonna answer. He's just Salakia. Not that he's not gonna answer. He he's not. He's gonna be on a no talking vibe. Right? The talking and the pleading is done. We got an order to kill. Right? He's coming to kill. Right? So, Trooper Shaiwan, do you have that precept for me?
Come on.
All right, let me catch up with you right quick. Gotta jump through. All right, drop it when you got it, Al.
Come. Second Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
Right? So we're in the last kingdom right now. We're in Esau's last kingdom. Esau, he had Taman, and there was another place, I'm forgetting the name, but he had Rome, he had Greek, he had Egypt at one time. He's had Europe for the longest, the Americas for the longest. He's had the children of Israel in oppression for the longest time. But he's the end of the world. This is his last kingdom. He's not going to get any more kingdom. After this, we're going to have the kingdom. Right? After this, there's going to be a black king sitting on a throne, right? Yahushua, Mashiach, right? Jesus Christ in English. Like, we're going to have a black king sitting on the throne ruling, and he's going to rule with the iron rod, right? He's going to rule, and it's not going to be a talking. We're going to have Esau in their place, right? This is Esau's last kingdom right now. You're living in a wonderful time to be in this truth. Like it's such a wonderful time to be in this truth because we see so much going on in the world, and everybody in the world is freaking out. Like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, everyone was freaking out about the COVID test, right? And just like General YAHANNA said, there's not enough vaccines for you scaredy cats. Like 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 the Jakes that are buying into the oppressor's fear of he's trying to kill me with a vaccine. Like nigga, he brought crack into your neighborhood. He's trying to kill you with a vaccine. Really? Nah, he's trying to kill you without the vaccine. He doesn't want you to have it. And now look, there's no more vaccine. What are you gonna do? Right? Redoc?
Come. Verse 10. The
Oh,
hand of
Salaki.
man.
Just read verse 9 one more time.
Come. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows.
Right? Jacob is the beginning of the world that follows, right? So we're gonna have a kingdom led by Jake, right? We're gonna have a Salakia. We're gonna have a kingdom led by Jake. Trooper Shah Yuan, Baba Kasha, get me Deuteronomy, right to the top of the chapter, bring me to verse 7. Salakia, I muted your mic for a quick second. I was getting that feedback again. But while you're here, can you bring me to Revelations 18, verse 6, Trooper Yaran? Revelations 18, verse 6, and just hold it for me. When you're ready, you can unmute your mic and drop it. But hold that for me right now. All right, Trooper Shah Yuan, get me Deuteronomy 32, verse 7, right? So we do these history classes because you'll be surprised to see what you can find when it comes to Canadian history, right? With American history, our oppressors they keep the images of us burning up on their websites. They produce 1,000 slave movies. They produce 1,000 movies with us being Salakia depicted as prostitutes, drug dealers, killers, coons, just illiterate and stupid, because that's what they want, right? There's a real difference between America and Canada. In America, it's straight up in your face racism. In Canada, it's hello, sir. And right when you turn your back, Johnny, did you see this nigger? Like that's Canada for you. So you're not gonna find too much information, or not even to say information. You can find the written information, but you're not gonna find pictures and damn near videos of the crimes that our people went through. Right? There was crimes committed against our people that we had to go through. You're not really gonna find that information or those videos like they show in the Americas, strictly because they want you to remember this, and not even to remember it to be angry. They want you to remember so you know to stay in your place, nigga. Like that's what they're on. They want you to stay in your place. Like if you're Black, Hispanic, and Native American, they want you under their foot, and that's exactly how it is. Like nothing more. Like, and you have to be reminded to be like, you have to be reminded that you're a slave. That's why they made a revised of Kuta Kente, right? Like they made a revise of the roots. For what reason? Like I don't know why we needed a revise of the roots. Like we all seen the roots. We all know the history. Like why did you have to remake it? Right? So T.I. could get a role acting, and he's not a good actor at all. Right? So that's why they do that stuff. But we have this history class here right now, and you know, we got men above us under Commanding General YAHANNA. Let's give Commanding General YAHANNA a round of applause. All the generals, all the captains, all the troopers, and the sisters for staying strong in this truth and keeping this truth alive, right? Because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have this truth out right now. Who knows what we would be doing, right? But we're supposed to remember these days, right? So now we have I.S.U.P.K Canada history class every Monday night at 7 p.m. because we're supposed to remember these days, right? So Trooper Shaywan, drop that Deuteronomy when you got it.
Come on. This is Deuteronomy 32 and 7. Remember the days of old.
Right.
Consider consider
Read.
come on. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee.
Right? So just like I said a few moments ago, remember the days of old. Like, don't forget these days. These days are very important to remember. Black History Month. Okay, Trooper Shaywan, I got a question. Have you ever heard of the Shelbourne riots?
La, sir.
And you've been in Canada. Well, I assume you were born in Canada. If you're not, doesn't even matter, right? We're children of the Lord. But we've been alive in Canada for a very long time, right?
Come on, sir.
Did you do high school in Canada?
I did up to grade 9 in Canada.
That's damn near good enough, right? Like, did you ever learn about Shelbourne in your Canadian history class?
La, sir.
Right? What was on that test? World War I, World War II. That was it, right? No Shelbourne. Canada does a real good job at not bringing out our history. So we got this history class right here, and we're gonna try and bring out not just biblical history, which we're going to get into some biblical history eventually, but we're here to bring out Canadian history for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? So to anybody watching who's black, Hispanic, or Native American, if you know any of your history that you think that might be worth taking a look at, hit me up at zabajabenjamin@gmail.com. Just email me and send that, right? Anything that pertains to black, Hispanics, and Native American history in Canada, right? I'm gonna type it in the chat in a second, and I'll drop my Gmail so you could email me if you have anything that you think would be worth talking about, right? So Trooper Shaw, you want to drop that precept one more time?
Come on. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee.
Right? So all you got to do is ask your elders, right? Go to your grandfather and ask him what was it like in Canada, and ask him even if it's not in Canada, just ask him what was it like for him. Anywhere he went in the world, he was oppressed. That's all you got to do, right? So that's basically all you gotta do. You just gotta ask your peoples and remember these days. Don't forget about them, right? Because we gotta remember them and keep them in and get in this truth and pray about these days and cry out to the Lord for all the injustice that we went through, right? And for everything that we went through, the Lord is going to reward them double. They put us in slavery, they're going to go through slavery and eventually wiped out, right? They put Planned Parenthood, drugs, and abortion clinics in our neighborhood. The Most High is going to make sure that these Edomites are wiped off the face of the earth, right? So for all you Edomites out there watching, right? Because we know you be watching, right? All you Edomites out there watching, enjoy the kingdom because the Most High got something for you. And like if you thought a woman's scorn was bad, wait until you see what the Most High has planned for you, right?
Select you, sir.
Huh?
If I could just add,
Yeah.
I asked my grandparents that question, and they knew the white man was dead.
Right. Right. Okay. So you know what's crazy? That majority of our old heads, they know that the white man's a devil. They live through it, right?
Right.
It's just because of a lustful bastard by the name of Michael King. We call him Martin Luther King. Now we've forgotten, right? Because he wanted to stick his rod in some whore box of an Edomite. He wanted to stick his rod in Esau's daughter, and Esau's wet dog smelling daughter. That we now lost black businesses and forgot about all the pain we were going through, right? What's crazy is most of y'all didn't forget. Y'all just too high right now. Y'all getting high trying to forget about it. Y'all getting drunk trying to forget about it. Y'all doing mollies and doing cocaine and all these perkies and ecstasies. Like don't get me wrong. Like I like listening to certain rap music, but then you gotta just remember like yo, some of this shit is damn near detrimental to our people, right? That's why I always start my class with UPK music, right? If you're not familiar with ISUPK, ISUPK has the best spitters that you'll ever hear in your life. You, you got to go check out West Coast Natazab, right? His Undoctrinated. That brother can spit. Captain Katazab, Captain Ta War, Captain Akkad, Salaki if I did it out of order, right? Like you just gotta go check that out. That's why I play UPK music. Trooper Urad, whenever you gotta drop it. Right before Trooper Urad drops that, just know as again, as we said, the Most High is gonna reward them double, right? And that's what Trooper Urad is gonna show you right now. The Most High plans to award or reward our oppressors, right? Because they were running the race for dominance. So the Most High is going to show them what dominance looks like, right?
So,
So drop it whenever you got.
so Revelation 18 verse 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and
Right.
double.
So our oppressors, Kanak, the water, just hold it. I know we're going to get right back in. Our oppressors are going to be rewarded as she rewarded us, right? And we know that when we hear that she is the daughter of Babylon the Great, America, right? We know that America sets the tone right now for how blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are dealt. They're a superpower in the earth. No one could talk to them, right? Like Britain has money, America has the nukes, right? And when they get together, cities get blown up, right? Landscapes get changed. Read.
Gotcha. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double report according to her works. In the cup which she had filled to her double.
Right? So she's gonna get double, right? America and our oppressors, they're gonna get double the reward that they're gonna get. Salakia, give me one moment. Give me one moment. Right? So America's gonna get rewarded double. Keep reading, Mike.
So verse 7. How much she hath glorified herself and lived del- deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she said in her heart, I sit a queen, and I am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Hmm.
Read.
So verse 8. Therefore her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her.
Right? So strong is the power that we serve. We serve a terrible power, a strong power, a man of war, right? So damn, like our oppressors, they've glorified themselves, and all that glory has come to an end, right? They've glorified themselves, and they've gone along with their white privilege, and have killed us so much. But all of that is coming to an end right now, right? Let's say, when was it? We'll say November 1st, 2019. Everything was all good, right? Or even September 1st, 2019, everything was all good. By December 25th, there was coronavirus, right? And one day these plagues come, right? You don't have to worry. You just got to keep the law of the Most High, and he's gonna take care of us. These are the scriptures your pastor doesn't want to read. He doesn't ever want to read these. Go ask him about Revelations 18:6. Like, I heard a man above me the other day say that in the Christian church they don't even open the book of Revelations. Right? That is crazy. They don't open the book of Revelations. It's probably not even in there. Like, go ask your pastor to read something out of Revelations, right? Ask him to read 13. Tell him to break that down for you and see what he says. I bet you he doesn't. Right? So these plagues are coming, and our Lord is strong, right? Trooper Sharyuan, can you bring me to Genesis 27 and 41? And like, your oppressor just doesn't like you, and you might have to ask yourself, like, yo, why don't they like us, right? It's just in them not to like us. Like, don't ask them why they don't like you. They just don't like you. Just ask yourself, what do you have to do to get out of this oppression? That's what you need to ask yourself. Don't worry about if the oppressor likes you or not. That man don't like you. She don't like you, right? They hate you. They utterly hate you. Just ask how you get out of this oppression. How you get out of this oppression is you join the I.S.U.P.K, right? Trooper Shaiwan, Trooper Yarad, myself, we're not oppressed in the I.S.U.P.K, right? We got brotherhood. We got love for each other. Like, that's why we're not oppressed. We know if we gather together, we're stronger. Because literally, I ain't shit without my brothers, right? Like, I ain't shit. Together, me and my brothers, we're God, we're power. We we're gonna heal our nation, right? We won't heal our nation, but this love, keeping these laws, is gonna heal our nation. Shalak, your trooper, whenever you have it, drop it.
Come on. This is Genesis 27 and 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
Right? So you've seen oppressors say this in movies so many times. I'll give you the perfect movie. Go watch Godfather 2. Right? In Godfather 1, Michael's brother Fredo kind of set things up in motion to where Michael was going to get assassinated. Michael waited until after his father and his mother died to kill his brother. Right? That's exactly what our oppressor is talking about right here. Right? Drop that one more time, Trooper Shariwan.
Come. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing.
Right? So our
wherewith
oppressor,
his father blessed him.
right. Hold that right there, right? So our oppressor, Esau, he gave us his birthright because he was vain, and he was too he's just vain. He needs it now. Like, everything he needs it now, right? So he sold us his birthright for some bloody food, right? and in return we got his birthright. So we got the kingdom, and Esau got the fatness of the land. When Esau realized that, yeah, shoot, I really just sold my birthright, and now it's time for me to get my blessing, and Jacob got the blessing, he wanted to kill his brother, right? That's been going on ever since, right? So ever since ever since Esau lost his blessing and we got it, he's been killing us ever since. Ever since his father died, they just hated us. Like, forget that, he just kills us. So if you're wondering why your oppressors hate you, I just read it to you. Salakia, Trooper Shayuwan just read it to you right now. This is why your oppressor hates you, because we got the blessing and he got the fatness of the earth. So he sees us with a little piece of land. He's like, nah, I got the fatness of the earth. That land is mine. Right? So now that you know your oppressor hates you, and now that you know about the Shelbourne riots, it's time to get in the I.S.U.P.K. Right? Was there any more of that to read, Doc?
Oh, okay. Wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
Then will he kill his brother Jacob, right? So he's just waiting for his father to pass away, and after he's done mourning, he's gonna do what Esau does best. Whenever they're in a time of mourning, like, right? So a young Edomite, he asks his young he asks a golden retriever out to the prom. The golden retriever says no. He gets an AR-15 and goes and shoots up a school. That's what Esau does when he's mourning. Right when he's done mourning, the whole school's shot up. Bullets in the locker room, bullets in the chalkboard, bullets in you, bullets in the teacher, like, and then he puts a bullet in himself. Right? And if you don't believe me, just type in school shooter. Out of the last 10 school shootings, all of them were Edomites, right? Shalom to those who are watching. The water for tuning in. Hit that like button. Share this on all platforms, Baba Kasha, which means please share this on all platforms, right? So what are we gonna get to next? Can you bring me to Trooper Shayuan? Bring me to John 10 and 10. Or, yeah, Trooper Shayuan, bring me to John 10 and 10. Trooper Urad, bring me to Ezekiel 3 and 4. Right, we're going to get some more precepts. John. Whenever you got it, you can drop it.
Okay. This is John chapter 10 and verse 10. The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill,
right?
and to
You have
destroy.
way more left. Salakia, hold up. Drop that one more time and just stop right at the kill.
Okay. The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill.
Right? So because you have more land, or you're getting less rations, but you're getting rations, the oppressors want to kill you. Right? That's what they came to do. They came to steal. First, they hunt your steps, right? And the climax of all hunting is the kill. Like, you don't hunt to go pet a lion. Like, no one goes in the forest and says, I'm gonna go hunt this bear so I can give it a hug. Like, who does that? No one does that, right? Gadites, when they go hunting, they hunt for food, and they make sure they use all of that animal, right? All of what they hunted, they make sure they use it, right? But Esau, he hunts for fun, and he steals for fun. He kills for fun, right? How do you think that came up with saying I kill for fun? That's Esau. That's an Esau saying. That doesn't sound like a Juke saying. right? That's definitely an Esau saying. They kill for fun, right? And they came to steal and to kill. And if you don't believe me, go to Caledonia, Ontario, and go ask the Gadites on the reservations how they ended up on the reservations, right? They know that Esau came to steal and kill. Right, right. Just like the sister said, that's the spirit of Esau coming, kill, to steal and to kill. Right? So we know that that's what they're on. Keep reading on,
and to destroy.
right?
I am come I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly.
Right? So our King Yahushai came to give us light, right? Came to give us light while our oppressors are here to snuff it out. The ISUPK is here to give you life. You're walking around dead. I'm always gonna say this. You're walking around dead right now. Spiritually, you're dead. You can't wait for Valentine's Day because you're spiritually dead. You don't even know the meaning of Valentine's Day, and you can't wait for it. You already have planned out what type of things you're gonna wear for your husband, or what type of things you're gonna want to do for your wife, because you're spiritually dead. You could do those same things on January 11th. Those same things. You could do it till January 31st. You could do those same things yesterday, right? But because you like to do what, and now this is for most Jakes, like we're like not in the ICPK, but outside of this school, Black Hispanics and Native Americans are spiritually dead. Oh, Salakia. I thought you Salakia. My bad, I thought you were a sis. You know, you got like I'll just tell you, it's better for you to just switch up that name from Sin to switch it up to your name, so we don't gotta go through that, right? Because it's hard to tell sometimes, right? So Salakia, my bad. You already know, right? So is there any more about scripture?
Allah, so
Con. Who got what's next for me? Right.
Con,
So there's just extreme. Yeah, Trooper, you're right. You have that. What's next for me? There's extreme racism in the hearts of our oppressors, and that that's what they practice. Our our towns, our people get killed left, right, and center. That's why when you drive around Toronto, you're getting pulled out of your car and beaten with nightsticks, right? And it goes unreported, right? Like again, in Canada, they're good at covering things up. Now, they might not be shooting us at an alarming rate like they do in the States, because again, the state is stateside is in your face racism. In Canada, it's smiling in your face and calling you a nigger behind your back. Like that's what's going on. In states, the stateside is bold. You're a nigger, you can't come in the store, right? Call the cops on you. In Canada is hi, how you doing? And then as soon as you turn around, they call you every disgusting word they can. Kana,
and Salakia, sir. I had a friend whose uncle was an agent in Canada,
Kana,
and he was saying a lot of the stuff too in Canada. There's a lot that goes on. They just don't report it.
Kana.
Um,
Yes,
like
that's a
like he
fact,
had, he
Doc.
had a story about a Moabite who cut up his wife, threw it in the garbage, threw her in the garbage. The waste disposal found it, and it was never reported. He went to jail, but nobody ever knew about the story. And I
Yeah,
heard stuff like that happens a lot.
that's definitely true. Like I'll tell you about a story that I seen growing up, right? So now in Canada, if you're in Toronto, there's a unit of police officers in Toronto. They're called PSRT, right? It's the public response something something, right? Before that, and this is what happens, right? So just like the best way to compare it is exactly what the Catholic Church does. Every time a pope gets caught up, they just switch the name and send him somewhere else, right? So in Toronto, we have what is it? PRST or something like that, right? It's the public response something something. That's a dispatch of Toronto Police. Before that, they were Toronto Anti-Violence Intervention System, TITHES, right? And TITHES is the run you down even though they don't know you, ask you for your name, search you when they have no reason to, beat you up, right? Just violate your every right? That's what they were for, because there was a string of shootings in the city, so they decided to put lawless police officers to deal with the lawlessness that was happening in the city, right? Before Tavis, they were a division called Core. Now I'm too young to even remember what Core was, right? But when we lived in a neighborhood, and a brother that I knew in the world, right? He seen another brother getting beat up by Core, right? Literally, just they were destroying this man with nightsticks. This has never been reported, like outside of the community. It was never on the news or anything like that, right? A lawsuit even ensued because of this, right? So the brother was beating up. The brother was watching police beat up another brother. He stepped up to say, "Hey, you can't do that." Keep in mind, cell phone cameras weren't out them times, right? This is like early 2000s. Like there's no cell phone cameras like that for good quality. He was in his front yard. He stepped right out his front yard for a second. If you know about the community, the project community, Toronto housing, that the front yard, once you take like 2 steps out your front yard, you're just on a sidewalk, right? So they seen him step out his front yard, and because he said stop beating that man up, they started to beat him with nightsticks and damn near broke his arm, right? So you're definitely right about a lot of things go unreported in Canada, right? So we got a couple more scriptures, and then we're gonna go into it, right? So bring me to Trooper Yarad. You have Ezekiel 3 and 4 for me?
That's correct, sir. I got that.
Okay, well, hold up. Let me catch up with you. Right, I just got to find it right quick. You can start. Hold up. I'm gonna get to it right now. Salakia. You can start reading it when you have it.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3 and verse 4. Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 4. And he said unto me, Son of man, go, get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them.
Read.
Verse 4, verse 5. For that, for thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel.
Right. So that, like, the Lord sent out Christ and other prophets to speak to the house of Israel, right? And we speak Christ's words right now. Like, we speak Christ's words, and speaking Christ's words, where we go out and wake up our brothers and sisters and get them into this truth, so they could change their ways and kill off their old selves, so they don't have to go through oppression no more, so they don't have to go through the things that are killing them, right? So those are the words we speak. Like you got to think about it. Like, we've been going through so much as a people, and our people, when they go through oppressions, They speak the words, hands up, don't shoot, right? Well, we're speaking, gather together. They're saying, hands up, don't shoot. What we're saying, right? So Salakia, right? Yeah, that's how I want to see it. Just like that, Rakim the Israelite, right? So you're saying they changed their names again, so I've heard. Salakia, just elaborate a little more for me so I can get your full point, Baba Kashad, right? You can either, yeah, just elaborate just a little more so I can get your full point, right? But while we speak, gather together, and keep the laws, they're saying Happy New Year's. That's what our oppressors are saying. Our oppressors, not our oppressors, Jakes in the world are saying like, yo, all we gotta do is march with these oppressors, and things will change. That's what we gotta do. They're saying all we need to do is love our oppressors and things will change, right? They're not speaking Christ's words. They're not speaking Revelations 13 and 10, right? He who leadeth into captivity must go into captivity, right? They're not speaking those things. Right? So Salakia, let me get a couple more precepts, and then we're gonna go into ending the class. Right? Salakia, Trooper Shaywan, can you bring me to Jeremiah 23 and 19? What else do I want? Can you? Yeah, that should be a right, right, and then Trooper, Urad, can you bring me to? Bring me to Psalms 139. Psalms 139. Trooper Shaywan, Trooper Urad, right, and Trooper Shaywan, get the precept that I asked for, Brother Kashab.
Come.
Right? So while we're speaking to the children of Israel and telling them to remember these days and don't join with the oppressors, right? They're not. There's jakes in the world who say all we got to do is love them. All we got to do is come together, hand in hand, and we're gonna make it out of our oppression. But that is not true at all. Like, name a Trooper Shayuwan. Can you name a nation that ever got out of oppression by singing and marching and dancing with their oppressors? I can't think of one nation. I can think of many nations though that got out of their oppression by fighting, right? And we know that we can't fight our biggest enemy, the Edomites. Like, we can't go hand-to-hand combat with them, right? Even though we're stronger than them, physically stronger than them, but when we say hand-to-hand combat, that means firearms, right? We can't go and gather ourselves together like that stupid group, the NFA, right? That stupid group, the NFA, had bad leadership, and one of the members shot themselves because they passed out from marching all day in all black with guns in the sun, right? Like, where was the damn water? That's bad leadership. You got to get in the I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General YAHANNA, the leader of the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American nation, right? A great leader, that is, right? He's raised up mighty men who aren't cowards. We're not afraid of anything. We're the real superheroes in the neighborhood. We're the real superheroes in the world. Like, we're not afraid of anything, right? Like, think about, like, I'll give you an example. We go to camp. This is good leadership. We go to camp. Officer Aban says, you guys are going to camp. Make sure you have water. He sends that message to Officer Adiyar. We go to camp. We meet Officer Adiyar. We're about to set up camp. Officer Adiyar says, let's go get some water, right? Because we're going to be out there in the scorching sun. right? That's what a good leader does. He takes care of his troops. What we've got right now is bad leaders, right? Trooper Shaw, you won. Is that all for the precept?
Slack, I haven't read it yet.
Oh, Salakia, can you read the precept, Baba Shah?
This is Jeremiah chapter 23 and 19. Behold, a whirlwind of the Lord is gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind. It shall fall grievously upon the head of the wicked.
That's the end of the verse. Read 20.
The anger of the Lord shall not return until he have executed, until he have performed the thoughts of his heart. In the latter days ye shall consider it perfectly.
Right. So this is letting you know, right, that we don't have to get arms to shoot oppressors, because it's hard to you can't fight a war against a man who makes your bullets. That doesn't make sense. Right? You're gonna go buy bullets from the oppressor. He's gonna sell you blanks that look like real bullets, and you're gonna go try to shoot and defend yourself, and you're gonna hear the shot, but then you're gonna get shot. Right? So you can't fight the oppressor like that. Right? Trooper Shah, you want to read 19 one more time?
Behold, a whirlwind of the Lord is gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind. It shall fall grievously upon the head of the wicked.
Right. So you're gonna see that like the Lord, he has the best revenge plan, and you can't compare to the revenge plan that he has set out. Like, not at all. You can't compare to it at all. Right? Salakia. I got one more precept to bring out, or Trooper Urad. So the NFA, 1 second. Hold up, Trooper Urad, right? Salakia. So the NFA stands for not fucking around, right? Just if you Google it, Google Google NFA, right? I think it's NFAC. I don't remember what the C stands for, if there's a C. But I know the not fucking around is like the short form of it. They are basically a group of black men and women, right? So some black man decided that he's gonna make a little group of black men and have our sisters in that same group walking around with rifles around the time that George Floyd died, around the time that George Floyd was murdered, right? He didn't die, he was murdered. Edomite leaned on his neck and snuffed his life out. So it stands for not fucking around, Rakim, right? So that's definitely what it stands for. And it's this group. They decided we're gonna parade around and march around, and one of their members, he passed out during the marching, fell to the ground and shot his rifle, and I think shot himself or shot someone else in the foot. I'm not exactly sure, right? But Trooper, you're right. You got a precept for me?
Yes, sir. Counselor, I got a precept.
What precept did you have?
Salaki, sir, I do have Salaki. I have Psalm 139, sir.
Okay, yeah, con. So, hold up. Let's get to it. Let me get with you right quick. Psalms 139. 36, 38, 39. All right, yeah. Psalm 39, bring me to the 20th verse.
Select it to the third verse.
The 20th verse.
Sir. This is the book of Psalms 139 and verse 20. For they speak against thee wickedly, and thy enemies take thy name in vain.
Read.
Verse 21. Do not I hate them, O Lord. I hate thee, and I am not, and am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee. Verse
Read.
22. I hate them perfect hatred. I count them my enemies.
Right? So this is David. This is David rapping right quick, right? And he's letting you know he hates who hates the Lord, right? Our oppressors hate the Lord, and them hating the Lord, they hate us, right? He's letting you know he hates them with a perfect hatred. He didn't celebrate Christmas with them because he hated them with a perfect hatred. Like we know now that in 1784, they rioted and killed, even though they want to say that no black people died. I don't believe that for a second because they tortured a sister who tried to escape, right, and killed her. So there's no way they did not kill black people, right? So we know in 1784 they beat and damn near killed black people, and we hate them for that, right? Now, I'm not telling you to go outside and go beat up an Edomite. That's not gonna work for you. You're just gonna get thrown in jail. Don't get thrown in jail. Come to the I.S.U.P.K. We got work for you over here, right? Get in the I.S.U.P.K. Like, join this brotherhood. Let's go wake up our brothers and sisters. Let's teach them to hate our oppression and our oppressors too. But and it's not hate that like what our oppressors think is hate, because hate to our oppressors is kill you and burn a cross in your lawn. Take your children, cut their hair off, and molest them. That's how our oppressors hate us. How we hate is we don't celebrate. We don't celebrate Canada Day. We don't celebrate Victoria Day, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day. We don't even celebrate our birthdays. That's how much we hate our oppressors. We don't want to live like them. Egyptians celebrated their birthdays. Pharaoh celebrated his birthdays, and he either murdered his baker or one of the chefs. One of them he murdered over his birthday, right? So we don't celebrate that. We're not celebrating Christmas and Thanksgiving, the murder of our brothers, the children of Gad, and the rest of the northern kingdom. Right? Read that one more time. Read the Salakia. Read 22 one more time. Salakia, you're on mute right now.
Select it. So this is the book of Psalms 139, verse 22. I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them my enemies.
Right? So you gotta hate your oppressors with perfect hatred. Start by not celebrating his holidays. If you want holidays to celebrate, just stay tuned. We'll be celebrating the Feast of Purim just now. Right? It's right around the corner. I'm gonna make an announcement about it in a second. Celebrate the holidays in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. Those are the holidays we're supposed to celebrate, right? I know we were kids and we would shoot firecrackers, and though it seemed like something fun to do because we were just oppressed, right? I got a secret for you. Chinese kids don't go around shooting firecrackers on Canada Day, right? And you know what I mean. Chinese kids don't shoot each other with firecrackers, right? They're out working in the CVS while our sisters, and they're happy about working in the CVS because all our sisters are buying the weed, right? You want a weight cap, you got to go to the CVS, right? So Chinese kids aren't shooting firecrackers at each other. Edomites aren't shooting firecrackers at each other. They're watching us working their businesses, right? So with that said, that's the end of our class. Again, I'm Officer of 50s of Baja. With me, I had Trooper Shayuwan, Trooper Urad. Big shout out to the brothers that are watching. Big shout out to the sisters that are watching. Again, like, share, and this video. Getting the I.S.U.P.K right now is the safest place you'll ever be. Experience real brotherhood. Like I know you might have had some friends on the ends that said, "My nigga, I'ma die for you if it gets real." Right? Realistically, you went and beat it up with him, and you shot somebody, and he told on you. That's not brotherhood, right? Real brotherhood would have been him telling you, "Hey, don't go do that. Let's go do something else." So again, I'm Officer of 50 Zabaja of the I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General YAHANNA. This is the end of our history class. I'm going to hit you with the announcements right quick, and then we're going to give a quick courtesy salute to the brothers and the sisters that are watching, right? Hold up. Give me a second. All right, so I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shove themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3 verses 8-10. Ma'ashara, which means tenth in Hebrew, 10% of every penny of every increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or the teacher. Priest funds, free will offering for priests is not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. The next up and coming holy convocation is Purim, right? That's the 14th day and the 15th day of the 12th month. You can find it Thursday, February 25th, and Friday, February 26th, 2021. You can find Purim in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verses 20 to 31. Right? So in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verses 20 to 31, reminder to Akim and Aqua, if you want to get in, check the bulletin board for Salakia. Check www.isupk.com for any up and coming events. Get in contact with your camp leader, right? The camp leader for Canada is Officer 5000 of Bond, right? You can hit him up Facebook, Bond UPK, and get in contact with him if you want to know anything else about the school. Reminder to the Akium and the Aquafium that we got Passover coming up at the BHB Salakia. Let me just get it. 1 second. Right? So, Lord's annual Passover is around the corner, hosted by Commanding General YAHANNA, April 24th in Houston, Texas. Start making preparations now. This year's annual Passover will be held at the BH Ranch, 1414 9 Player Street, Houston, Texas. Hotel arrangements will be announced shortly. The Passover fee is $200. Again, get in contact with your camp leader. The camp leader for Canada is Officer 5000 of Bond. With that, Salakia, one more. Anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, and a headband. Right? Just like you see our troopers doing, and get in the school. It's the greatest feeling you'll ever have. Right? Salakia. With that said, men of Israel, Akwaf watching, Imajim, which means to stand. technical difficulties. You know, never get an Acer laptop. Shameless plug. Right? Men of Israel, I imagine, which means stand. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers and the sisters. Men of Israel, I imagine Shabbat. I imagine Barak. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahashai Barakatah. Yad Yamtah, which means hands down. Men of Israel, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, I imagine Shabbat. I imagine Barak. Yahweh Shamar Alatha Ba'ashem Yahashai. Men of Yad Yamtah. Men of Israel, class dismissed. Clap it up. Don't forget to like and share this video. The water for tuning in. We'll be back Monday. Don't forget, tomorrow's Brotherhood class with Officer 50 Garage. 7 p.m., same channel. Shalom, Israel.